Hey guys, so today we're going to be doing another deck guide. This is for Amonkhet Remastered. This list, what we're going to be going over for the deck guide is how the list functions, budget options in case you don't want to spend too many wild cards and such. With new sets coming out, we've got Zendikar Rising on the deck, or on the rise soon. There's a lot that's coming up, so you don't want to spend all of your wild cards in one place, so to speak, all of your eggs in one basket. So we're going to be going over budget options as well, and how the deck functions, and sideboard options for best of three, and potentially in matchups. But the sideboard, I'm not really sold on it, because this deck really functions as a best of one list at the moment, and I think it gets weaker if we go into best of three potentially, but I'm willing to do some testing and some theory crafting on that. And we'll also have some gameplay for the deck as well later on in the video. If you guys are interested just in the gameplay, seeing how the list works, the timestamps below, you can just click on that and skip right to the gameplay, man. And there's also an exportable list down below too, so you don't even have to listen to the intro if you don't want to. If you think you can see the synergies or understand it just from watching the gameplay, go for it. That's what those links down below are for in the description. So here we go. Here's the list. So what's it do? So you see we have a lot of early game ramp. We have 4 Explorer, 4 Spiral, and 2 Uro. And we've also got Ops to help with land drops. You'll notice the amount of lands here seems a little high, especially for a Kefnet list. So the reason for that is I want extra lands early game for Explorer, Spiral, and Uro. And I'm okay with the amount of vision that we have with the deck. Supreme Will, Search for Azcanta, Ops. Like, we can bottom lands, man. It's not a huge deal. And to me, I want to hit my land drops. I want to be able to keep 2 landers with like Growth Spiral if it's my opponent going first, stuff like that. Really want to be able to keep up the pressure and not mull and go down cards with this list. So that's sort of the goal. So how does it function? We use Approach of the Second Sun as our primary win con, with Kefnet and Uro on deck, just in case, this gets Necromentia'd or something. So that's the idea is... So the functionality here, the whole idea behind this list is early game ramp into obnoxious stuff like us comboing. So you may reveal the first card you draw each turn as you draw it. Whenever you reveal an instant or sorcery card this way, copy that card and you may cast the copy. That right there is the most important part about that deck. That distinction. Whenever you reveal an instant or a sorcery card this way, copy that card. Now, Approach, the rulings on Gatherer, and just from what I've talked with judges and stuff, usually copies don't count for Approach's thing, like its effect. If this card was cast from your hand, so that doesn't matter. If you've cast another spell named Approach, notice how this says cast. Okay, so if we go here, right, to Approach, this says a copy of a spell isn't a cast, so it won't count toward the first or second. That doesn't matter because we throw that out the window because of Kefnet's text. We've actually won games with this effect. It works. It's fine. Promise. So that's the idea, is setting up the draw with Ops, with Castle Vantress to scry, all of this other stuff to set up for the Approach combo. All right. That's the idea. And we have a lot of key pieces here to help us combo off. This, for example, a lot of versatile cards that do more than one thing, basically. So if we reveal Supreme Will off the top, we cast it for 1 mana because it's discounted by 2 with Kefnet, if Kefnet's up. So we get to look at the top 4, look for a land drop, look for a Pact of Negation to counter, look for whatever we want. Approach, our combo piece, Search for Azcanta, board wipe, etc. And be able to cast that. Cast Wrath for 2 mana. Oh no, Kefnet blows up. You know where he's going to be? 4 cards under. You got this. It's fine. You just keep rolling with it. There's so much interaction with this list, and it's so intricate that I've enjoyed this list a lot more than a lot of the other historic lists that I've played in the past. And this is just the first variation of it. We've been, well, sort of. We used to have Fabled Passage, and we used to have Neutralize instead of Supreme Will. So it's already gone through a lot of min-maxing just on today's stream. Like, we've been playing this list for about 6 hours now, and I haven't gotten bored of it yet. It's just so fun just casting stuff. Drawn from Dreams discounted. Boom. Look at the top 7 cards for an Approach of the Second Sun. Win the game. Like, it's so good. You get so much mana going that sometimes you can even Drawn from Dreams for your second copy, like for your second cast of Approach, because Approach says, otherwise put Approach Approach of the Second Sun into its owner's library. 7th card from the top, and then you gain 7 life. So Drawn pulls that right back up. So if you can do Drawn and cast your next copy and have Pact of Negation in the pocket, who can stop you? Like, there's a lot that can stop you. Like, you know, another Pact of Negation from the opponent, a Quench plus another counter spell, etc. But in regards to combo decks, in comparison to other ones, we have a pretty good chance of going off here. So that pretty much sums up the gist of the deck. Like, the goals, we ramp, and then we try to combo with Approach. Lots of intricacies with Kefnet, which you will get used to with multiple reps of the game, thinking about it, what you could do in different situations, etc. You'll get better at that. So let's jump into like budget options. Like, you know, what can I do if I can't craft like Pact of Negation, if I can't craft Wrath of God, etc. If I can't, you know, do other stuff. Also, we can talk about the top end, like if your budget is higher, what else you can do to min-max the list, because that's important too for you whales. You know, shame on you for buying cards. Shame on you. I'm just kidding. So basically, if I was a whale, if I had more wild cards, because right now I'm a little strapped, this isn't the only experiment that I want to work with. I would go like this, maybe drop the Tamiyo, and then I would craft a few of the cycling lands here, the newer ones. Here we go. So I'd craft 2 or 3 of these, the farmlands, and I think there's one more. Yeah, the Scattered Groves. I'd do 2 or 3 of these each, depending on the, you know, your budget or whatever, because these are really important because they cycle for 2 mana, which is better than the Triomes. And then if you cycle on your opponent's turn, you have a chance to get like Approach of the Second Sun, Drawn from Dreams with the free copy. That's something to note, is that you can cast sorceries on your opponent's turn with the Kefnet proc. So you can do fancy stuff like opt into Wrath of God for 2 mana. And then if they go to redevelop their field, you can just Wrath them again, which is super funny. It's just great. So I would say that if I had more wild cards to work with, the cycle lands here are good. And then 1 more Pact of Negation. I want to have 3 because they secure your combo so well, especially in best of 1. It's so good. So awesome. Because you're able to tap out for Approach for 7 mana. And then if your opponent goes to develop like a Eugene or something, you can just be like, nope, and just pact them. Like anything that could stop your combo, Necromentia, etc., you just tell them no, tap your mana out, and then, you know, chill out. That's super nice. So that's what I would do top end wise, is I would craft 2 or 3 of these and put them into the list and replace maybe some of the temples, maybe hinterland, stuff like that. Just trim some of the lands, plug it into MTG on Curve. If you don't know that, I have a YouTube video on that too. It teaches you how to plug your list in and see your mana percentages. Like this here. You can see here we have a pretty good percentage to cast everything. So just make sure you're replacing the colors correctly and you'll be fine. So budget options, if you are limited on wildcards and you still want to play the list, the only thing required is 2 Approach of the Second Suns. The packs are really, really nice, but you could replace them with like Swan Songs if you have those from the historical Swan. So Swan Songs are okay. They're not great, but if you bought the historic package there where you get a bunch of cards, this can be okay as a 2 of, because this will still stop like Necromentia and stuff. It just doesn't stop Planeswalkers. And it costs 1 mana, which is more than 0, right? So you can't tap out for Kefnet, you know, and play a Scryland and be happy with the Swan Song. Like, it's just not going to be quite the same. But if you're on a budget, you know, Swan Song, Mystical Disputes, any of those like cheap miscast, like anything that's cheap that can stop Planeswalkers, instant sorceries, that type of thing, will fulfill the same idea. Alternatively, you could go Cast Out just so you could deal with Planeswalkers that did resolve. That's also an option. Like, and a really good one because it's uncommon. And it's a cycling card, so like you can cycle it on your opponent's turn. The drawback to this is it's not an instant or sorcery for Kefnet if you draw into it, you know, on your opponent's turn. You won't proc it or during your upkeep. So it makes Kefnet whiff. At the same token, Pact of Negation, you're not really going to cast a copy of that. You might be able to opt into it, but that's like a niche situation. Like unconditionally drawing a card off Kefnet for your draw step, Pact and Cast Out are both dead. If that makes sense. And how's it going, Samsoni? How are you doing, man? We're just recording a YouTube video right now. So just chilling out. So there we go. So that's like budget options. Also no wraths. You can just use Shatter the Sky. Instead of Wrath until you get more wild cards going. And then 2 Approach. So really all you need to do is craft 2 Approach of the Second Sun, and you can run this list on a budget with Amonkhet Remastered and probably have a bit of fun in Best of 1. I just really liked, I would prioritize 2 Approach, 2 packs, and then craft the Wraths last. That way you can still have a chance against goblins because you can pact the Muckus, or Muxus, I think is what it's called. Yeah, Muxus. So that way you can still pact that, stop them from getting their chain goblins going, Shatter the Sky. They might draw a card, oh no, compared to the Wrath, but I think that that's the priority in crafting is Approach, Pact, maybe even the lands before Wrath, but Wrath is super nice. We could also consider replacing the Uro here, one of these Uros, with the Sphinx's Revelation. Revelation. Here. And the idea behind this is that Uro, I've been thinking about cutting Uro for something else anyway, like the 3rd Pact is where I would make room for. Here. And then I would even Revelation. And then I would go like this probably and cut the other Uro. Because what's Uro doing? It's just giving us life gain and draw for the most part. It also gives us an alternative win con, but we have that with Fae anyway. Like we can go and grab our Approach. Even if we get all of our other copies exiled by like Necromentia, we're hiding 1 in our sideboard is the idea behind this. So something like that could work. I would say both for the Best of 1 list and for this one. So that's the change I would make if I wanted to test another card that's over budget, basically, because you have to spend yet another mythic for this. So something to consider. And then the deck's good. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the list and budget options and whatnot. I think that pretty much covered it. You could also try to fit Cast Out instead of Tamiyo or Cast Out instead of something else in here too. If you want answers to Walker's Sense, the deck really does struggle with things that resolve. Like I almost had a Chandra 6-head come at me with like a lot of burn. Thankfully we could out heal it with Approach. Had I not drawn Approach earlier in the game though, I would have, or if I had drawn Approach later in the game, I probably would have died. But we got lucky, and it was nice. So good matchups, bad matchups. If we're talking Best of 1, which is where I think this deck excels, I think we have an even matchup against a lot of decks. I would say we struggle. It's hard to tell what the meta is going to be like. We struggle against probably Reanimator, just because we have no graveyard hate. And like we can only Pact of Negation 1 or 2 things that allow them to bring their stuff back. And if they're packing stuff like Unburial Rites, where they have multiple procs, like multiple chances to reincarnate their dudes, it's going to be hard to keep up with. We have to combo and go really fast in that case. And Pact of Negation when it's really important, where it won't slow us down too much. And just let things go when it doesn't just straight up kill us, I would say. So Reanimator is probably the toughest matchup, followed by, like, I'd say Goblins are almost a 50-50-ish, like with Pact of Negation, at least at 3, if you're running the non-budget option. I would say we do pretty well against that just because, like, we have some life game with Uro, Approach, etc. And we have 4 sweepers, which is nice. And we can usually do this on turn 3 with, like, an Explorer Spiral. Our mana is really good for it. So as long as we have the extra lands to play, we're pretty good there. And you can even tech this a little bit more against Goblins, but I think it's fine as is. Something else we could do is include like a Fae of Wish. Now, while Fae of Wishes doesn't, it doesn't get procs off of, or Kefnet doesn't get a proc off of this. But what this does allow us to do in best of one is go for the sideboard for like Crypt, 0 mana answers for the board, or for the graveyard for the opponent for Reanimator helps a lot. Or being able to grab like an extra Pact of Negation from the sideboard. It's super awesome, like, right? Being able to do that. And then if the opponent doesn't cast something warranting your Pact of Negation, you just hold on to that until you combo, which is really nice. So I'd say one of Fae could be really, really good instead of like the Tameo, for example. Does almost the same thing. Both don't proc off of Kefnet. I might actually just make that change right now. The list just changed. Now we're a Fae of Wishes deck. Which changes our sideboard dramatically, but the updated sideboard for best of one will probably be in the links below as well. But if you want to make this a best of three list, you can do some tweaks to it. This is the sideboard that I had for best of three if I were to jump into best of three, even though I think the deck excels at best of one. So I'll try to have both lists up with the actual sideboard and the best of one sideboard in the links below, and I'll tag them so you can find them easily, like distinguish them both, like best of one, best of three. Be pretty easy to see. So let's go over the sideboard options if we weren't going to include Fae of Wishes. We have 2 Crypts for Reanimator because that's a really tough matchup. This might go up to 3 if that matchup just hoses us a lot. The Narset's Reversal is not too much of a meme in this list, and I'll explain why. If you cast Approach of the Second Sun, right, and then you Narset's Reversal it to your hand, you cast the first copy of Approach anyway. The copy that Narset's Reversal happens, like it casts, won't count toward you winning the game. Instead, you'll still gain 7 life, which is awesome. Because it says otherwise put Approach 7th card from the top and then you gain 7 life. So you'll gain 14 life, which is an insane tempo. And you have Approach the Second Sun in your hand, so next turn you're threatening to slam that if your opponent doesn't rip it out of your hands with like Thought Seize, I think is what it's called, the new, or not really new, but the reprint on the best hand hate spell in the game, basically. So this is sort of a meme, but also it works around no matter what, we can use it for our combo for one. And then we can counteract, like, you know, Thought Seizes, we can counteract Thought Distortions, all of that annoying stuff. We can, if they go to Necromentia, we can reversal it, and then Necromentia the Necromentia, just so we don't have to deal with that, etc. It's just sort of a nice tech against hand hate, basically, on top of it not being dead because we can combo with it if we have enough mana. It does take 8 mana, right? 7, 8, it takes 9 mana. So like super late game, but still 14 life gain is pretty nice. So that's what that's there for. Jor-El. So this is just an alternative at WinCon against control, especially like Esper-like matchups where people want to sideboard in Unmoored Ego and Necromentia, Thought Distortion, all of that stuff against our Second Sun. This gives us another way to win the game, and it's pretty fast. Like, you guys probably have seen like lists recently in Standard with this card with like Uro, Draw 2, Simic, all of that stuff. That's what this does, is it just gives us an explosive win. So that's what that's there for. Just an alternative win con. 3 vetoes, pretty self-explanatory against other planeswalkers, so we don't have to rely on cast down specifically. Just a really good tempo play, or not tempo, that's incorrect. Just a really good safe play. And it's pretty easy to hold up veto and then cast Supreme Will or something, you know what I mean? Like, it's, or like cast Growth Spiral. It's something that we can hold up a counter spell for and then do other proactive stuff at the end of our opponent's turn, which is nice. Not discounted by Kefnet, but we can get an extra copy if we opt into it. Counter their thing, have an extra counter spell, very powerful. Settle the Wreckage. Sometimes aggro gets a little out of hand. There's indestructible effects now. A lot of people might be memeing around with like Gideon indestructibility, Chance for Glory, all of that stuff. This says, okay, dude, but that's exiled, so it doesn't matter. And then they lose their Gideon, and then they lose the game, and it's great, and we laugh at them. Not really. We laugh because we win and we're happy. We never laugh at people. Okay, that's mean. Don't do that. So that's what that's there for. It's kind of weak against Gruul because they'll just questing Beast and like have Gruul Spellbreaker and they'll be big bullies, but it's fine. You can still get there. This is just another option. Something to note, this is an instant, so if we opt into it, we can get a discounted copy for 2 mana and ramp our opponent to oblivion. They will have so many lands, so many basic lands out, but they will have no creatures, which is awesome. That's our goal, because if they don't have creatures, they can't win. Heliod's. This is mostly for like Jund food in case people are still messing around with that. Also Shrine decks. It just catches a lot of things off guard. Plus, if we opt into this, I think we can still pay 2 and then X and make a copy that's discounted by 2. So we can Heliod's for 2 for free, which is awesome. Especially if it's just 1 mana opt and we're like, man, we really need the Heliod's right now or we're going to die to Embercleave. Boom. Done. Cameo's Epiphany. Cameo's Epiphany. Scry 4, then draw 2 cards. Oh yeah, this is a good option for Drawn from Dreams. That's a good call. I agree with that. Yeah, definitely. Because it's still discounted by Kefnet and stuff. Yeah, instead of Drawn from Dreams. Yeah, I didn't really go into that. So yeah, Drawn from Dreams, this is pretty good because you can still 4, 5, 6. So you get to see 6 cards. So you can still technically get to your approach with this if you scry all 4 to the bottom, draw 2, and the next turn you will draw your approach, which is cool. Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's a good budget option for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much the sideboard. This is a just in case, and it's kind of nice life gain too. Like if you're up against burn and such, it can be pretty nice. And that's pretty much the list, I think. We went over good matchups, bad matchups. That's really hard to cover right now because the meta's evolving. There's a lot of new decks here and there. So the sideboard's going to shift too. But if you just want to play this in best of 1, switch out the Fae for the Tameo there, or the Tameo for the Fae, and we'll be good to go. So with that being said, we are going to jump right into the gameplay. This looks a little risky. I don't think I'm allowed to keep that. It's a little bit better, but we lack draw. And probably just put Drawn from Dreams back for now and try to hit like a board wipe. No! No maintenance. No, no, no. I'm here to play Magic today. Don't do this to me. Don't you dare. I'm actually having fun too. Sensor is kind of cool. I have basics. Do you not think I have basics? I will slay you. Thanks for the free growth spiral. Aha. Cool. I think they just needed a color fix, honestly. Otherwise that play doesn't make any sense. So now they scoop. See ya! Oh, maybe not. Oh, no! That's terrifying. I only have so many basics in my deck. I need to deal with this. Maybe I should have pacted that. I need another board wipe. You don't say anything, Strider. They're just feeding my Uro. That's all they're doing. I still have basics. That does kind of suck though, losing the Euro here. Does hurt. I just need a Wrath off the top, and then I'm fine. Yo, how's it going, Catmaster? I think this guy's fine. How have you been, man? I've been working on the beard. I need it trimmed up pretty soon, though. But it's going okay. How have you been, man? You guys don't know Catmaster. He plays a lot of Path of Exile. Used to do a podcast with him called Faded Connections. A lot of Deep Rock Galactic, yeah, that too. It's a fun game, dude. They do have Field of the Dead active pretty soon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more card, and they can do it. Nice. Reveal. So we get to cast an extra copy of this, which is cool. Okay. Then we pass it to our opponent here. They're at 6, man. They got to do something soon. How's the long-term Magic motivation holding up? It's pretty good. New set just came out, so we've been chilling out with that today. That's fine. We don't care about that too much. We just need to push through a couple more damage. It's interesting. I'm gonna see what I draw into here. Explore? Sure, we'll take the free draw. So the way that this guy works, Cardboard Live should be open so you can like highlight cards as well if you're not familiar with the stuff that we're using. With the first card that we draw each turn, if it's an instant or a sorcery, we can play it for free. Or for 1 discounted mana, I should say. It's not for free. Nice shirt, I appreciate that, Dom. How you doing, dude? Okay, so they're down to 10. Swing in for 4. Fine. I don't have any blue mana for this. Do I? Or I don't have blue and green. Such a good card to draw here. So we get to pick one of these to put into our hand. Probably just the Opt, honestly. So we can do something on their turn as well. I think we've got a Wrath here after we swing in. Otherwise, we're just dead. Then we can Growth Spiral on their turn. We can probably take the Kefnet. Probably fine. We have 28 lands as well, which is just funny. Can be pretty dangerous with Field of the Dead, because they can sacrifice this forest later. I think I'll let it resolve for now, though, because it doesn't have haste or anything, so... Ooze. Ooze is rough, a little bit. It can be rough. I think we still let it go through, though. It's only going to get to, like, a 6 or a 7. No, it's going to be more than that. So this, we don't have Kefnet anyway, so this is fine. So I can shock this into Opt, but that just gets us Kefnet a little bit faster. We kind of need Wrath, or like to be able to mitigate some of this damage. We do have Supreme Will to look for a wipe if we need it. Definitely worth bottoming that. Wrath of God off the top one time. Heart of the Cards. No, not quite, huh? We're dead if we let them untap, because they can exile 2 creatures right now. I can block 1, I can block this guy, but... kind of rough. Especially since they can start proccing Field of the Dead. That's so sad. Four fives. We're so close. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, but we won't have enough mana to cast Wrath of God potentially with this. Plus right now, if I play this, it's the safer play. Is to play this. And then just wait. Because I can still block Ooze or block this. They can only boost that 3 times, and that's not lethal. Like, playing this would make sense. Tap to leave up double blue. I don't think I can. Double blue? For what? Will opt? Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, or opt on their turn, yeah. There's most of the common instant cards, basically, is the idea. They can only pump by 2, though. Oh, they can pump by a lot more. I will have to block this, probably, with Kefnet, which is rough. And then they have Field of the Dead at the end of the turn, potentially. So that's also tough. You might as well swing both. I have Wrath, dude. It's damage. I mean, I'm blocking. Oh, he doesn't know I have Wrath? Okay, that's fair. I thought it revealed. Am I wearing a backpack? It's a back brace, so I can work on my posture. Sidetrack. Oh, he's exiling it. Okay, that's fine. That's pretty rough. Yeah, it is your fault. It is your fault, sidetrack. It's a core set for posture. Basically. I can still almost flip anyway. Okay. So now they're gonna have 1/2/2 to contest me with. I think that I'm just chilling out. I'm just gonna Supreme Will end of turn and try to look for a win con here. I don't know why they didn't crack Fabled Passage. They might not have any basics left. Oof. Guy's kind of an issue. Need this. Use this. Well, if they have something crazy, then I die, but I should be okay for now. I could do both if I hit the right land here, so... Shocking in for that seems fine. To like accelerate the draw and to keep going. They don't have lethal. It's close though. Do I have enough mana? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Same old thing that keeps me around. If you wanna come around, baby, it's cool. And if you wanna fuck around, baby, I do. Just wanna be alone with you, with you,
So hopefully that gave you an idea of how the list kind of functions. I know earlier in the video I might have said there are 2 or 3 games, but the video went a little bit longer than I wanted it to. That being said, I'll probably do updates on the guides as I change out new cards, less budget options, more expensive options, like just so that I can min-max the list, because I really feel like it's got some merit, especially in best of 1. So I'm going to try to crunch the numbers and figure something out, but I'll do updates on the video guide and try to link it with this one, you know, in a playlist or something, so it'll be easy to find. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to toss them in the section below. Appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the video. And there's also going to be an end panel where you can click and subscribe. That really helps the channel. I've been trying to put out a new video each and every day, usually deck guides. I've been pushing it more towards that and away from the other series. They felt like they were forced. So yeah, thanks again, and I will catch you guys for the next video. Oh yeah, exportable lists for both the best of 1 and best of 3 as a reminder down below, and I'll see you guys